Today I'm going to show you how I create a jewelry campaign image, and I'm going to do it with 2 lights and the Westcott Optical Spot. Hey everybody, Lindsay Adler here, and as a beauty photographer, I am frequently asked to photograph jewelry on my beautiful subjects. Now, there's no one right way to photograph jewelry. Of course, this depends on the brand that you're photographing it for. Are they young and fresh and playful, or are they a little bit more elevated and luxurious? Well, elevated and luxurious is what we're going to go for in this shot. Now, frequently, these brands, when they hire me to photograph the jewelry, they want something to be maybe a little bit lower key, something a little bit more mysterious, maybe just little slices of light in the frame so that those slices of light catch the jewelry and give us a little bit of a glisten. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. So let's begin with the most important tool to achieve these slices of light. Today I'm going to be using the Westcott Optical Spot. This is actually a modifier that I designed in conjunction with Westcott. And the reason that I love this, it's an optical spot, maybe you've heard it before as an optical snoot or a zoom spot. What it allows you to do is create the tiniest, most controlled slices of light. So for example, I've actually shot a beauty jewelry campaign before where the subject had an earring to camera, and all I did is put just a highlight only on the earring. It gives you that much control. All right, for my main light, I'm going to be using a PROFOTO D2, and on that D2, I'm going to use the Westcott Optical Spot. So to begin with, what I want to decide is where I want that slice of light to appear. So I'm going to open and close those leaves. Now what's nice about this is I can also focus or defocus the lens. So for example, if I want razor sharp edges created by that lens to carve out the edges of the jewelry, well, I can sharpen the lens. But if I just want a little pocket of light, just a little kiss of light on that jewelry, well then I can defocus the lens. I have that much control. All right, so as you can see, we've adjusted those leaves, those shutters, in order to create a slice of light that continues from her earring all the way down her necklace. We've actually sharpened the lens a little bit so you can see that nice tight slice of light. So let me grab a shot as is with just that single strobe. Now today I'm going to be shooting with the CANON R5 and the CANON RF 70-200 2.8 lens. Now if you haven't seen this lens before, what's great about it is not only is it sharp, but it's also smaller and lighter than its EF counterpart. And so it's really nice if you're shooting a long day of beauty or a long day of portraits because you're able to reduce just a little bit of that weight, but you don't sacrifice any of the image quality. All right, so let's grab that first shot. If this were just a product shot, you can see that I can create really interesting shapes with the light. But of course, I have my model so beautifully styled, and she of course is gorgeous. So this is why I want to add a second strobe into the equation. This second strobe is going to give her definition. Now there are a couple different approaches you could take. So for example, if I wanted to just focus on her profile, so you just see the outline of her face, well, I could pop a light onto the background and put her in silhouette. But I actually want to see her beautiful features. So my second strobe is going to be a PROFOTO D2, and I'm going to add a medium umbrella with diffusion. So basically what this is a soft light source. And I'm going to put it straight onto my subject and at a little bit higher angle. So in this instance, it is a fill light, but it's kind of like both of my lights or main lights are just doing different things. So the medium umbrella with diffusion moved around to the front is the main light on my subject. But then the optical spot off to the left-hand side is the main light carving out the jewelry. Now there's one more thing I want to add to this umbrella, to this second strobe, is I want this shot to be a little bit moodier, maybe a little bit more mysterious. And for that reason, I am going to add a blue gel to this strobe. In fact, it's a little bit more of cyan. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is when I add this light to the scene, what it does is it turns everything blue. However, my optical spot is white light, it's not gelled. And so now just the jewelry or just what is illuminated by that light is what's going to pop and be regular color. So let me add that second strobe into the equation so you can see how it is affecting the image. All right, so you can see now that she has a beautiful soft quality of light on her face. The entire scene is kissed with that blue color. And of course, the angle of the light is carving out her cheekbones and jawline, but the optical spot is what pops out the jewelry. Now I want to also show you what it looks like if I turn off the optical spot. So turning that off, the entire scene is now blue. Now there's no problem with this, but it certainly isn't drawing my attention to the jewelry. So I think it is the combination of these two lights that helps me achieve the mood that I want, the color that I want, but also direct the viewer's eye to the important part of the frame, which of course is the jewelry. Now, one of the things I do want you to notice is the color of the background. So the background itself here is actually a fashion gray. It's Savage Universal Fashion Gray. It is a lighter tone gray, but when you look at the photograph, it looks kind of a blue teal. Well, why is that? Well, my main light here, the light that's lighting my subject, is kicking light both onto the subject and to the background. So it is serving as a background light and as a light on my subject. So it's kind of dual purposing. Now, if you wanted the background to be another color, no problem. You could simply add another strobe behind the subject to illuminate that background. But in this case, I actually think it creates more of a harmonious result because the blue on her face also matches the blue of the background. All right, so I like the position of the slice of light on her and I like the color of the light, but now it's about getting everything working together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out my assistant, and you can, of course can do this by yourself, but I'm going to have my assistant constantly make little adjustments in the light. Sometimes we'll go for wider slices of light so that we're lighting half of her face in the jewelry, maybe just parts of the jewelry, maybe just parts of her face, and every time she moves, it's going to dramatically change where the light is illuminating. So we're going to make a little adjustments both to the shutters and to the position of the light until we get the perfect shot. All right, so let's go make that shot. All right, so I think these images look beautiful, but one of the things you want to be careful of if you try this technique is please know that it's all about precision. That's the entire point, is that you're creating really, really tiny slices of light. So you'll have to watch out for your poses. If your subject leans a little bit, turns their head a little bit, it'll completely change what part the optical spot is illuminating. So I recommend that you do this knowing that it's not going to be clicking a million frames quickly with a lot of movement. Instead, it's going to be small adjustments and just a couple clicks until you get that perfect shot. Now, if you want to see the gear used in the making of this video, be sure to check out the links in the description below. And you're definitely going to want to check out the optical spot, not just because I designed it, but because I fundamentally believe that it will change your photography. It'll change the way you light and the way you control your light. Now, if you enjoy beauty photography, or you want to get into photographing jewelry, or you want to learn more about the optical spot, you should definitely check out learnwithlindsay.com because I have lighting recipe guides there that show you a wide range of different setups and every piece of information you need to recreate those setups. And speaking of, in the description below, I actually have a link to a lighting recipe for this setup. So I'm going to have the modifier, the distance of light, the power of light, everything you need, the exact recipe to recreate this look. So be sure to check that out. And of course, if you want to learn more about lighting, more about the optical spot, a little bit more about my techniques, be sure to like and subscribe. See you next time, guys.